Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sydney and I am a spiritual mentor. Every single week I am coming to you with a new video to share different information, guidance, support, and wisdom on connecting to the universe, spirituality, and energy. As you can see from today's video, we are talking about 5 tips for you to receive signs and messages from the universe. If you're new to my channel, please consider clicking that subscribe button and joining along. If you've been following along already for a while now, then make sure you ring the bell. It will notify you every single time I put out a new video. Now, why are we wanting to receive signs and messages from the universe? Well, we're very limited as humans, especially in our minds. Our minds create limits, and our perspective is typically just on this singular moment and what we see in our physical reality. Connecting to the universe allows us to expand beyond the limits of our mind, and receiving signs and messages from the universe brings guidance from the non-physical realm into our physical reality. From my own journey, I have received signs and messages in many different ways, and it's helped me to feel supported in times where I've felt lost or lonely. It's helped me to gain clarity on maybe a specific direction that I need to go. It's also given me support in understanding maybe where I'm creating resistance or blocks on my path. So there's many different ways that receiving signs and messages from the universe can help you. And we can go super in depth and a lot more complex about, deciphering the meaning behind signs and messages and calling in certain signs and messages. But today I want to simplify it for you with just 5 very simple tips that can help you to receive signs and messages on your path with a little bit more ease and grace. So tip number 1 is be clear. If you don't know how the sign and message will pop up on your path, then how are you going to know when it does pop up on your path? Especially because there is an unlimited amount of ways for you to receive a sign or message from the universe. So it's really important for you to be clear with the universe, be clear with your angels and your spirit guides on what it is that you are looking for your sign and message. So for instance, for myself, I've always really connected to animals, and I am always aware on when an animal pops up on my path, and those kinds of messages never skip past me. So very early on in my journey, I was really clear with my divine team that if they wanted to send me a sign or a message, I pay attention to the animals that show up on my path. So if they're sending me a sign or message another way, I may not take it as a sign or message. Their best bet is to send me an animal. Now, a lot of people will have a connection, maybe with a loved one who's passed on, maybe a grandparent or a friend. And when that person was living, there was something special and unique in that connection. Maybe your grandfather always gave you pennies, or had a certain saying or a certain song, right? So use what feels good to you. If numbers really catch your attention, especially angel numbers like 1111, 222, then make it really clear with your divine team that you want to receive a message in the form of a number. Okay, so get clear on how you will pay attention to that message showing up, and make sure you're telling your angel, this is what I'm looking for. Tip number 2 is to keep track. We're forgetful. It's just innately part of us as humans. And if you're not keeping track of the signs and messages that are popping up in your life, then when you fall back into fear, worry, or doubt, it's easy to forget that you recently just received a sign and message that was encouraging you to move forward on your path, right? Often When we're receiving signs and messages from the universe, it's because we're being asked to step out of our comfort zone. And if you're wanting to grow and to live an intuitive life and follow your soul path, you have to head out into the unknown. So receiving a sign or message, it helps you to build trust and faith as you move into the unknown. Because again, we don't have control over a lot of things in our life. And when we choose to connect with the universe and to receive signs and messages as a way to follow our soul path, we are understanding that the universe has a bigger plan than we do. And so we are actively releasing that sense of control, and we're allowing the sign or message to guide us in where we need to go. And so when you keep track of the signs and messages popping up on your path, it allows you to build strength in recognizing them, right? If it's a passing moment, you're gonna forget the next day. And when you keep track of them, maybe you have repetitive signs. Maybe the same thing pops up all the time for you. And after you've kept track, you can better decipher, what that sign or message is trying to tell you. So make sure you have a journal and start keeping track, writing down what your signs and messages are, like what's popping up, what's grabbing your attention. Even if you don't know if it is or a sign and message, by you writing it down, you're affirming to yourself that something grabbed your attention. And you're affirming to your divine team that, hey, this grabbed my attention. And so they'll send you a sign or a message again the same way. So keeping track just builds your muscle of receiving and knowing when you receive that sign or message, okay? Tip number 3 is surrender and trust. Now, you're not going to receive a sign and message if you're frantically searching for it. If you are going about your life saying, is that a sign of a message? Is that how it's gonna pop up? Oh my gosh, is it over here? Is that where it's gonna be? You are creating resistance, right? Again, I said earlier, we don't have control over a lot of things. The universe is going to show us our path. We need to step back and release that resistance and allow the universe to show up and guide us. So surrender and trust is something that you need to practice and build, right? The moment that I say to my divine team, hey, I would like a sign, I then let it go because I trust that they hear me. They hear me the moment that I ask for something. And because I receive signs and messages through animals normally, when I go for a walk, there's a good chance that I'm gonna see an animal, especially if I've already asked for a sign or message. But I've noticed that when I want a sign or message, I'm on my walk and I'm going, when am I gonna see something? Is there gonna be something there? And it's on those walks that nothing pops up because I'm not present. I'm not present experiencing the moment as it's happening. A sign or message is going to grab your attention. You're not going to miss it. And I think it's in the moments where we let go of control and we simply are just moving through our life and the sign or message pops right up in front of us. Those are the moments that catch us off guard and say, oh my gosh, how magical is that? When we're frantically searching and we see something, then we're gonna question whether or not it's actually a sign or a message because we were already searching. But when you allow it to find you, it is without doubt that that was a sign or message for you in your path because it popped up when you were simply enjoying the moment and it grabbed your attention. So tip number 3, in order to receive signs and messages from the universe, is to surrender and trust that the sign will come forward. And if no sign comes forward, well, that's a sign. That's a sign. Because sometimes you're in your clarity, you're saying, send me blank if I'm supposed to move forward on this. And if you don't receive a sign, then that's a message that you're not supposed to move forward on that. Not that you're not ever supposed to move forward on it, just right now you're not supposed to move forward on it. So surrender and trust. Tip number 4, simple is better. We tend to overcomplicate things. And when we overcomplicate things, it moves us into that space of second guessing, right? If you're moving through your life and you're saying, hey, universe, send me a sign for this. And then an hour later, you're saying, send me a sign for this. And then the next day, you're like, send me a sign for this. Like, why are you asking for 3 signs? It's so funny because as humans, we want things to move quickly. We have very little patience. And so we're like, I need to be there. I need to be here. I need to be there. But the universe is saying everything's going to work out in divine timing. And when you carry this sense of rush and pressure and forcefulness, you are blocking the opportunities that are meant to pop up in your life at a specific time. You're blocking yourself from seeing them, and you're blocking them from flowing into your life. So simple is always better, especially if you're rather new to receiving signs and messages from the universe. Or maybe you're not new to it, but you are now starting to build it as a practice in connecting with the universe. If you want to get super in depth and complex with it right from the get-go, it's going to be a lot harder for you to build your trust and surrender the outcome, right? So simple is better because through practice in receiving signs and messages, eventually over time, you can make it a little bit more complex, meaning, the way that you decipher the message. So for instance, eagle, the animal eagle is all about trusting in the bigger picture, trusting in your higher self. So when I first really started to build my practice in receiving messages and signs from the universe, when I saw an eagle, it was very much just that, trust. Okay. But now that I'm a lot further along in my practice of receiving signs and messages, I take that message from Eagle when it comes forward on my path, and I look at, what was I just thinking about? What was I just acting on? What area, what is a more detailed description of this message? And how can I embody Eagle's energy in my daily life? Right? So I make it more complex now because I have strengthened my practice in trusting the messages, and I trust myself to decipher the meaning and gain a little bit of a deeper description on maybe where this exact message of trust is pointing at in which area of my life. So simple is better. Start off simple, and over time, you'll strengthen your ability of receiving signs and messages, and it'll become easier to get a more descriptive understanding of each sign and message. Okay. The final tip that I have for you today is be grateful. You have to appreciate what the universe is sending to you, because if you don't appreciate it, then you're not going to continue to receive those signs and messages. The more you appreciate, the easier it becomes for you to receive them, acknowledge them, take that wisdom, and move forward carrying it. So when you're moving about your life, even if you haven't asked for a sign or message, but animals really catch your attention, or angel numbers really catch your attention, even if you haven't asked for a specific sign or message, when you see an animal or when you see an angel number, take a moment and send out appreciation for it. Thank you so much for this beautiful message. I know it's just a reminder that I am not alone. I know it's a reminder that I am supported and guided right now. Because when you carry that loving, appreciative energy around receiving signs and messages from the universe, you're going to start to notice them pop up on your path a lot more. signs and messages are everywhere around you. You simply are not noticing them. You're not aware of them because maybe you don't know where to look. So start to notice them, start to appreciate them, and it's going to be a lot easier for you to continue receiving them. If you want to take your connection with the universe to the next level, my Spirit of Air group program is exactly the space for you. It is a 12-month journey where we go deeper into understanding your intuition, mastering your connection with the universe, learning the voice of your soul, deciphering signs and messages, and most importantly, trusting your spirit as you follow your soul path. So if that sounds interesting to you, then check out the link in the description or send me a message if you have any questions about it. If you want to connect to animal medicine or Mother Earth, I have a spiritual ebook that is dedicated to connecting with animal medicine and Mother Earth. So you can strengthen your connection in receiving signs through the animals and through the earth. And that guidebook is going to support you through that process. I really hope that this video has connected with you and you've learned something from it. Please leave a comment below which tip really got your mind thinking and made you see things from a different perspective. If you enjoyed the video, give it a good old thumbs up. And if you haven't already, don't forget to click subscribe or ring the notification bell so you're notified every single time I put out a new video. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to connecting with you again on the next one. Bye.